Cool. That's a dope picture. I don't know where that came from. I like that. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here. I was supposed to actually speak tomorrow, and family stuff came up. I told Jeremiah it was an emergency, because it is. It's my kid's golf tournament, and that's an emergency to me, because for me, my family comes before everything. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background. So, great introduction, said that I was an immigrant. I grew up in Canada, and I grew up in a really poor family. My dad was this serial entrepreneur, but unfortunately, every business that he ever started failed. So I got to learn a ton about how not to execute in business. And I always knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur because, to be honest with you, I didn't really have an example of anything else. There was no chance that I was going to work for somebody because I never seen my parents work for somebody. They just continued to try businesses, and every time they lost their ass, they had to pack up and we had to move in the middle of the night. And so I got to go to like 11 elementary schools as a child, and we just moved from state to state. And I thought that was normal, and I realized that it wasn't, but I also learned a lot of lessons when I was a kid. And when I got to go to high school, I realized that at this point, I needed an education. I needed opportunity, and the only way that I was going to get that was if I figured it out myself, because my parents were broke. You know, they couldn't even pay their own bills. When I was 15 years old, my parents divorced, and I moved out on my own, and my dad took a job in a different city. And so for me, if I wanted opportunity, I had to figure out how to get it. And I figured that the only way for me to get that was really through sports, because I knew I was good at sports. I actually loved basketball. I wanted to play basketball, but I wasn't tall enough to play basketball. And it was kind of funny. I was playing volleyball actually my junior year, my ninth grade year. In Canada, they call it grade 9. Here, they call it ninth grade. But I was actually playing volleyball, and I was the captain of the team the year before, and we were going through tryouts. And I'm going to just tell you guys this story. This is how I actually came to the U.S. So in ninth grade, I show up at tryouts, and I realize that there's like the third, fourth day of tryouts, there's like 15, 16 players. And all the kids, because they're afraid to ask the coach when they're going to make the rest of the cuts, they ask me if I can ask coach. So I said at the end of practice, hey, coach, when are we going to make the rest of the cuts? Because I knew I was on the team. I was leading all the drills, right? And coach said, hey, everybody bring it in. I want everybody to close your eyes. And whoever thinks we should make the rest of the cuts today, I want you to raise your hand. And I said, okay. So we all closed our eyes. I raised my hand. The kid that was on the team the year before, he raised his hands. And she said, everybody open your eyes, and whoever raised your hand is cut. Now, this was weird. I mean, one, I was devastated. It sounds silly because it's a volleyball team, but in my life at that moment, that was like the most devastating thing that could happen, because my entire life was sports, from sport to sport, overlapping seasons. I went home that night, and I swear to God, I cried like nonstop. I cried to my mom. I said, my life is over. This is the end of it for me. Like, what am I going to do? You know, and it sounds silly, but this was big to me. And you guys know how that is. You look back in points in your life, and there's certain things that just stand out, and they were like devastating moments. And that's what it was for me. And I remember sitting actually on the staircase in my home with my mom, and she was kind of consoling me. She was rubbing my back, and she said, don't worry, Aaron, like, everything happens for a reason. You just have to have the right attitude. You have to have the right perspective, but everything happens for a reason. So fast forward a couple weeks out, I'm bored out of my mind. Every day I come home from school because I don't go to practice anymore, and my little brother, he started playing a sport that was pretty obscure in Canada called football. And I didn't know shit about football. I didn't know why they kicked off, why the dude, you know how like you meet people, and I don't mean this in a misogynistic way, but like girls and people like me from Canada that don't know shit about, it just looks like football's a bunch of guys running around jumping on each other. That's what I actually thought football was. And so I was like, man, I don't get this. But my little brother, he started playing football. And because I was bored out of my mind, I would go after school and just watch his practice. I would sit on the bleachers and I'd watch. And sometimes a football would come over close and I'd pick it up and I'd throw it back. And one day the coach, after a couple of weeks of me just watching, asked if I wanted to come run some plays. And because I was a track star and I could run fast, they give me the ball, and I was not bad at it. And I was bored out of my mind, so the coach was like, hey, you want to play? And I was like, absolutely. And so I learned football. And I ended up playing 2 years of high school football. And at that point, I'm looking at my options in life. And I remember very, very clearly, this was going into my senior year, so 12th grade. This is the first time I've ever seen a U.S. college football game on TV. It was Virginia Tech versus Florida State. It was in the Rose Bowl. There's 114,000 people screaming for these college kids running out onto the field. And I'm standing there watching this with like 5 or 6 of my best friends in high school that played on the football team with me. And by the way, we got like 6 to 8 people to our games because we played in snow. Nobody wants to fucking watch football in the snow, turns out. So we're watching this game, and I remember like my buddy, he said to me, man, could you guys imagine like playing in front of 100,000 people? That's insane. And I don't know what came over me, but I remember so clearly, I was like just watching this, and I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. And they all just kind of laughed at me. And because they laughed at me, I got a chip on my shoulder, because I'm a really prideful dude. And I said, I'm gonna fucking do this one day. And so I worked my ass off all summer training. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get recruited. I'm this kid out of Canada playing a sport that nobody gives a shit about up there in the snow. And so I went to this bookstore near the mall in my small city. And it was called Chapters Books. And I got this book. It said, How to Market Your NCAA Student Athlete. I bought the book. It was like, $16 or $13. And I read it cover to cover. And it essentially mapped out exactly how you could get yourself in this recruiting process. Because back then they didn't have Huddle and these recruiting services. And my coach didn't give a shit in Canada. Like, he was just like, probably taught 3 different sports at the school. So I started following this thing. I'm calling coaches, I'm sending out film. I made my own film, my own highlight film. I had to get an extra VCR from the pawn shop so that I could do, play, rewind, record, back and forth to make my own VHS. I took it to the local news station, and I asked these guys if they could put some dope music to it. And I just begged the guy, and luckily the guy at the TV station that does all the mix boards, he actually put some dope, Beastie Boys, Welcome to the Jungle. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be the dopest highlight film ever. In the back of this book, it had all the colleges' information, their addresses, their phone numbers. So I started sending these out. I could only send out a couple a week because I didn't have much money, right? And while I was in high school, at nights, I was going and working at the stock brokerage after hours doing all their filing. And that's when my mindset changed a little bit, because I realized my life, for most, you graduate high school and you go to northern Alberta and you're a rig pig. You're working in the oil fields, and that's kind of the only way you can make any decent money. But I had to change my whole mindset. I said, no, dude, I want more than that. And so I followed this book precisely. I started calling, and I realized that none of the coaches would ever take my phone calls. They all have gatekeepers, right? You call the athletic department, the secretary answers. You say, hey, can I talk to Coach Doba? I really want to, him to look at my highlight film. It's really good. I'm this kid from Canada. I promise you guys are going to think I'm awesome. She's like, great, let me take your number, right? What I realized was I had to get resourceful. I didn't have many resources, but I had to be resourceful. So what I did was I started calling those numbers, and I'd say, hey, I was just on a call with Coach Doba, and unfortunately we got disconnected. Can you patch me through? And she's like, yeah, no problem. Hi, this is Coach Doba. Holy shit, right? Hack. Hey, coach, I'm this kid from Canada. I think I'm pretty good. Will you watch my film? Yes. He starts watching my film. I can hear in the background, I've watched this damn film 300 times. I made it with 2 VCRs. I know that when Welcome to the Jungle comes on, at this exact moment, I'm making this exact play, and I can hear him in the background going, ooh, wow. I'm like, bingo, jackpot. This guy thinks I'm pretty good. So he comes back on and he says, dude, you're a pretty good player. We should come up there and take a look at you. I said, yeah, awesome, football's over, but you can come watch me play basketball. So he comes up, he flies up, he comes and watches me play basketball. I figure, man, I just got to be rough and tough. So I foul out of the game in like the second quarter, right? Just beating the shit out of people. Warm-ups, I'm dunking every dunk that I can do because I'm like, I just got to show these guys. So fortunately for me, he offers me a scholarship, and this is my ticket out of Canada into the U.S. and my opportunity for the American dream. And at this time, I'm living on my own, and I got a 1984 50cc Raz scooter, and I pack everything that I can. I'm 17, I got a scholarship offer. I pack everything I can in a bag, I put it on my back, and I drive this 50cc Raz scooter from Canada through the Rocky Mountains, like literally Dumb and Dumber style. Fortunately, it's summer, so it's not bad, but still fucking cold. I get to the border, and the customs guy's like, what the hell are you guys, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm coming to play football. I'm coming to the American dream, right? I cruise through my scooter. I show up for practice, and I realize, I walk into the offices. I'm like, Coach, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Everybody told me if I showed up 2 months early, I'd know all the plays. You guys, I could start. I could be the star. They're like, yeah, that's cool, man. So you can work out with the team. We'll see you at 5 a.m. workouts. I'm like, cool, but where do I live? Where's my apartment? Where's my check? He's like, well, that doesn't start till September. It's June. Ah, shit. Didn't figure that out. I got $38 to my name. I can't work in this country. I'm not legal. So I'm like, yeah, hell. I start going to the 5 a.m. workouts. I realize it's a pretty nice locker room. There's lots of places to sleep in this damn place. So I'm sleeping in the locker room, and I realize that these players, they're coming in at 5:30 in the morning. As soon as I hear them, I wake up, get my shit on. I look like I'm ready to go. They're like, man, this Canadian kid, this freshman, man, he's ambitious as hell. He's the first dude in the locker every single morning. This guy really wants it. And I'm filling my backpack with the Boost protein shakes because that's all I got to eat, giving me the shits. But I'm the first guy there every morning. I'm working out hard. These guys think I'm great. Well, it turns out our star quarterback, who was a Heisman candidate and a high draft pick in the NFL, he was usually the first guy in the locker room. But this little Canadian kid just upstaged him. So he started showing up at 4:30. And he realized that I was sleeping in the showers. And he's like, Wags, what the hell are you doing in here? I'm like, bro, I don't have any other place I'm trying to do the best I can. My Scully check doesn't start for like a month and a half. He was really cool. He said, come stay at my place. I got a couch, got food, and we became really good friends, and we're still really good friends to this day. And that year, I was one of 3 true freshmen to start for that team, and we won the Pac-10 championship. And turns out, we played in a bowl game. And I remember walking into the stadium in Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, 114,000 roaring fans. I walk through the tunnel. I stand there, and I'm like, this is exactly what I said I was going to do. And I remember back to sitting on the stairs with my mom, crying, thinking my life was over. And her saying that everything happens for a reason. And for me, that's when it all changed. Because one, if I wouldn't have been cut from that team, I would have never played football. If I would have never played football, I would have never come to the U.S. I would have never got a free education. I wouldn't have gone on to win multiple championships in college football. I wouldn't have gone on to play professional football in the NFL, to make a living for my family, to make incredible networks that launched my business that now has just taken off like a rocket ship. I wouldn't be in this place where I have my wife, my 7 children, living the life of my dreams, 3 planes, fly wherever I want, whenever I want, do whatever we want, houses in multiple states. It all comes back to that moment when my mom said everything happens for a reason. But she didn't say it just happens to you. She said with the right attitude and the right perspective. And so all of us have hardship in our life, but we got to take the right attitude. We got to take the right perspective. Because the hardest moments in your lives are the best teaching moments in your lives. You'll look back at the hardest shit and you'll realize that's what made you you. That's what made you tough. That's what insulated you and made you bulletproof. And for me, when I walked into that stadium and I knew that I had fulfilled this commitment and this goal to myself, I knew that I was unstoppable. And today, my superpower is confidence. It's belief. All of you in this room want something for yourself. You have goals, you have vision, you want more. And that's good. But it'll never happen if you don't believe it for yourself. It's the number one step. You have to believe that you can achieve. That's just it. It doesn't really matter what anybody else believes, but there's no fucking chance if you don't believe it, right? So for me, today, my number one superpower is belief and confidence. And what I've learned, as I've got all these rugrats, is that we get to instill that in our children at a young age. When our children come into the world, if we tell them the sky's purple, guess what? The sky's purple. They believe us. Some of you guys think that you need to parent your kids to be realistic. Bullshit. The world will teach them realistic. The world will teach them harsh reality. You need to empower your kids with belief. It's a superpower. You give them confidence. You tell them they can do anything. Because my parents didn't give me shit for resources, but they gave me belief. When I was a kid, my mom and dad told me I could do anything in the world, and I believed it. And that's what's got me here today. So that's who we have to be. Now, let me just teach you guys a couple things that I've learned throughout this process of business and life. For me, everybody gets to a point where you feel like you're just burned out, like you've maxed out, like almost reached your capacity, right? And I'm here to tell you that that's just not the truth. These are just stories that you're telling yourself, that you're maxed out, you can't do any more, you've reached your bandwidth. Here's the good news. You haven't, and that you have unlimited bandwidth. So when I meet people and they tell me, man, I'm just really busy, I don't think I can do anything, I'm too busy to do this, I'm like, oh, interesting, tell me about your life. Well, I got a girlfriend, I got this job, I like to work out, I do this. Oh, cool, so have you watched Netflix? Yeah, I do a lot, I watch all these are my favorite seasons. But okay, bullshit, you're not busy, right? When people tell me that, I'm a little bit unsympathetic because I have 7 children, I've invested in over 60 companies, I've got 1,100 employees, I've been married to a woman of my dreams for 18 years, and I'm a pretty busy fucking guy. So it's hard for me to empathize with people, but here's what I've learned about myself. I tell myself those stories. Aaron, you're maxed out, dude. You're at the end of your bandwidth, and it's bullshit. Because all we have to do is we actually have to just take ourselves outside of ourselves and look how we can replace ourselves, how we can build. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go big, build a team. And that's what it took me a lot of years to figure out, is that I wanted to go big. I wanted to be impactful. I wanted to have purpose in building a business. I wanted to change people's lives, not just my own. And so for me, I decided a long time ago that I was going to change my entire business. See, the first 7 years that I launched my business, because I was playing professional football, I had access to a lot of people with a lot of money. All my teammates, they're spending money at the clubs, girls, entourages, cool chains, bling bling, 26s on their fucking cars. And I realized, man, these guys, the NFL really stands for not for long. And so these guys are going to be on their ass here in a few years, and they're not going to have anything to show for it but a bunch of bling, which, by the way, is not even going to be cool in a couple years, right? But here's the deal. I started doing real estate while I was playing. I was flipping houses during the foreclosure crisis. It got so easy, I thought it was illegal. It felt illegal. Like we were buying things for half a replacement cost. And I started telling my guys on my team, hey, man, give me a couple bucks, do a deal with me. And they're like, okay, what's your pitch? Well, my pitch is this. If I don't lose your money, I'm the best investment you have, because you're just blowing this shit. It's true. It's true. Turns out we were printing money because we were buying these houses for half of what it cost to make them, right, during this process. Now, everybody was jumping out of real estate. I thought I was the best thing that ever happened to real estate because it was so easy, and we were crushing it. Turns out it was really good timing, looking back. And so I got these guys involved. We started building this business. We were crushing it. I started investing in other companies. And then I got a little bit sidetracked because I knew that I wanted to build something big, and so I started just really networking like crazy, which, by the way, is not a bad thing, but I was taking money from anybody that would give it to me. I was going on golf trips with people that I didn't really enjoy. but I knew they had a couple bucks in their pocket. I was kissing ass, saying the things that I needed to. You know, this day I was the golfer, this guy was the fly fisherman, this next day I was a hunter, you know, with all these investors. And 6, 7 years into it, I realized, man, I'm not any of those things. I don't even fucking like hunting or fishing. I'm not that good at golf. You know, I just want to hang out with people that I want to hang out with. And I did a deal that actually was kind of a bad deal, and I realized that the reason that it was bad was not because there wasn't opportunity. There was tons of money and opportunity, but I didn't like the product. I didn't like the people. I didn't like the partners. And every time I got a text or a phone call, I was trying to avoid the meetings. How can you be your best self in a business like that? You can't. You're not going to show up. You're not going to bring the best of you. And so what I realized was, forget all this shit, man. I made a bunch of money. I'm going to build a life. I'm going to curate, not just be this opportunist that takes every dollar that he can see. I'm going to build and curate a life and a business that I enjoy. And I promise you this, you guys write this down, I'm serious. If you are hanging out with, working with, every single day, the people you want to be around in your business, you will have a way more successful business. Because you're going to bring your best self every day to that business. You're going to show up and you're going to collaborate and you're going to have synergy. And that's what I learned was like, holy shit, I'm way better at business when I'm doing it with people I like. So some of you guys were raised this way. You've heard this. We don't do business with friends and family. Who in this room has heard that? Why the hell would we not do business with friends and family? Let me tell you why. First reason, you're a scam artist. You don't want to rip off your friends and family. Second, you just don't actually have the confidence or competence to actually do business with friends and family, because if you fuck it up, you lose the money, you damage the relationship, right? So guess what? If you don't have the confidence, competence, you don't have the track record, don't do business with friends and family. Do it by yourself. Learn, grow the confidence, grow the track record, and then go do business with friends and family. Why? Because you'll enjoy it more, and then you'll be better at it. And then you'll all have more success. Let's all just pretend that 10 years ago we knew that Bitcoin was going to be worth 50 or 60,000 a coin. All right? Just go back in time, 10 years ago. You guys all know at 10 bucks a coin that it's going to be worth 60K. Are you guys calling up all the rich fucking people that you know and telling them it's going to be 60K? I've seen into the future. How about just random Joes? You're not calling those people. You're calling your friends and your family. Because you want those people at the top with you. You want them to come with you. So why the hell is it any different today in our business? It's just some bullshit that people have told us that we believed. So I decided, forget that, man. I'm doing business with my friends and family. Almost every single investor in my business today is my family or my friends, close friends. These are people that I want to take to the top with me. I don't ever ask people for money. This is what I do. Hey, this deal is dope. I'm going to win on this thing. Who wants to come with me? It's never an ask. It's an offering. And that's a mindset that a lot of you in this room, in your business today, everybody, raise your hand if money would impact your business today. If an injection of capital would help you guys accelerate your business. That's a lot of people. Most people are not actually raising capital because they're afraid. They're afraid to ask their friends and their family. They're actually even afraid to ask random people, strangers. Let me teach you something. Mindset change, real quick. This is a paradigm change, and you have to make this change now if you want to raise capital. You decide that you're going to do a deal. You decide you're going to do a marketing plan in your business. You have the confidence that you're going to do it, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get that done. Now, because you're on board, you're committed, and you're all in, you've burned your canoes, you're going to the top. You believe it. Invite others to come with you. Every single person that's in business with me, they've never, ever heard me say, hey, man, do you want to invest in my thing? Hey, can I borrow $250K? Never. I paint the vision of where I'm going. I'm committed to do it. They know I'm going to fucking do it because I got a track record, right? And guess what? I want to take my friends and family. Who wants to come? It's a free fucking ride. Everybody wants to come. And if you adopt that mindset and you believe it, it will change your business overnight. So with this, I started curating this lifestyle of doing business with my friends, family, the people I really, really like. And here's what was really cool about it. One day I get a call from my wife. I'm out of town. I'm traveling, doing some business. And she says, hey, I was just at this little neighborhood party, and one of the neighbors comes up and she says, I see Aaron all over Instagram. It looks like he's just having the time of his life. Like, I don't know how you do it. She's kind of this jealous little bitch. She's like, I just don't know how you do it with all these kids, and, just like you're a single mom, and just, totally passive aggressive. And she says, my wife's like, yeah, we divide and conquer. It's a good thing. And then she calls me and she says, Aaron, everybody just thinks you're playing. Like, they ask, like, are you ever working? And at first, my initial reaction was like, these jealous little bitch trying to fuck with my marriage. Like, this is messed up, right? But then I actually thought about it, and I was like, man, that's pretty dope. Like, these people can't even tell whether I'm working or I'm playing. I must be doing things right. I must be on the right track. And that set in for a little bit. And then I realized, that's cool. But about a month later, I was thinking about that same thing. And I said, what are my ultimate goals? Where do I really want to be with this business? What do I want it to be? And I thought to myself, it's cool that others can't tell. But my ultimate goal is when I can't tell the difference between when I'm working and I'm playing. And that changed everything for me. Because that's where I'm at today. The people that I'm in business with, the people that invest with me, my employees, my executive team, all of them. They're the same people I'd call and say, hey, let's go to Vegas. Hey, let's go golfing. Hey, let's go do this, go for a beer. These are the exact same people. There's no difference. I wake up, I'm so excited to live my life and absolutely grind in my business. Why? Because they're one and the same. I can't tell the difference. And that's what all of you really need to strive for, I promise. I thought about this so much. If you can get to a place where every single day it's the same thing, work and life, what you want to be, who you want to be, who you want to do it with, and you're building, it's the exact same thing, man, you made it. That's it. So I'm going to leave you with a couple things here. Ultimate superpower, belief. Confidence, right? Unlimited bandwidth. So Jeremiah, who put on this incredible event right here, he took a lot of shit. You guys know, he took a lot of shit on this. And I'm so proud of him that he stood with it. Jeremiah has invested a lot of money in my businesses, and me and him have become really close friends. And one of the reasons that I support Jeremiah, among all things, even when he was going through this shit, I called him, was simply because this dude, his message of being great or being nothing, it's literally the exact same thing that I'm trying to teach you guys. That today, you can just do things to do things, or you can do them to be great. You can do them for impact. You can do them for purpose. Or else why? Right? And so, I'm really, really proud of Jeremiah. I'm really grateful to be his friend and for him to be involved in my stuff. And I'm also really appreciative that he accommodated my change in schedule so I could be here with you guys today. And at the end of the day, all of you guys, every single person in this room has the ability to do anything they want. But I promise you this, and this is what you guys have to take from this entire conversation. You can write down all the memes, you can watch inspirational videos every single day, you can listen to the rest of the speakers. They're going to give you a lot of tactics, a lot of skills, a lot of strategies. But at the end of the day, if you truly don't believe you're capable of it, it doesn't matter. I'm here living the American dream, and not just the American dream, my dreams. I got every car that was on a poster in my wall when I was a kid. Flying around jets, I actually fly it. I'm a pilot. I fly my kids to tournaments every single day. From here, I'm going straight to my plane, getting in and flying to Arizona. That all happened because I believed in myself. And every single one of you guys are capable of that. If I can come to the US with nothing but $38, a backpack, and a shitty fucking scooter, you guys can do it. You guys can have everything that you want in your life. Everything. You gotta believe it. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Aaron Wagner, everyone.